Howdy strangers, my name is Benji and today I want to welcome you to another Pro Cycling Manager video. And on this one, we start our adventure. Finally, we can get started with YouTube Pro Cycling Team. If you haven't seen the previous introduction video, then definitely do so because otherwise you won't understand the core concept of the series. I'm not doing this one alone. I'm working together with two fellow YouTubers, Timmsoski and Blackwar, and together we collectively stole the Katusha license and decided to put a 27-rider team into a World Tour. In short, I'm going to start off in this first episode by prepping the season a bit. I'll also start the first two races, and afterwards I'll pass on the save towards Timmsoski, who will continue onwards on episode 2. And in the third episode, Blackwar takes over the save file and does the rest as well, and it keeps on going like that. First of all, let's take a look at our squad and remind ourselves which riders we took in the first place. Rafa Maika, he's our GC leader. He's going to be fighting for the victory at one of the Grand Tours. Victory might be a bit too much maybe, but we'll decide that when it happens. Patrick Conrad, I feel like he's more of a Liège-Bastogne-Liège type, but he can definitely do a Grand Tour as well with that time trial stat. Decent mountain, but mainly his hill stat. Sebastian Molano is not our GC leader, for sure. He's going to be a sprinter. 76 sprint, 25 years old, and still some growth available. I'd say he can definitely get better in the future. But then again, I don't expect him to become 80 sprint either. TJ van Garderen, bit of a sad story his career so far, but we're going to try and change that. He was very close in a Tour de France in the past, but let's be real, he's had bad luck on left and right occasions there. I do believe we can still get a good performance down here and potentially get a top 10 in a Grand Tour with him, potentially more. Then Heinrich Hausler is our last leader per se. He's not the greatest cobble legend, but I like him and that's why we picked him. 75 cobble. He's not going to be the man that rides away from everyone in a Roubaix or something, but with a bit of luck we might be able to stick ourselves to the back of the group, but who knows? Heyman did it, so why can't Hausler? The rest of the squad has some amazing talents, amazing domestiques, amazing free riders, but I can't just go over them one by one on this one. You'll get to know them one by one in the races we ride. Names that you will know though are Bosenhagen, Jurgen Roelands and so forth. Sanchez. We've got new talents like David Decker, Chris Nylands, Mikkel Bjerg, and it just keeps on going like that. Those names will be in our squad this year and we'll decide what we do in the races and how good we do it as well. As you can hear, I'm quite hyped to start this one off because it's a team that I wouldn't have picked myself, and that's the beauty of this because despite picking 9 riders of this, I've got a team that I usually wouldn't pick in custom team, and therefore it's something that feels more real for some reason. If you pick a custom team, you know that it's a custom team. In this setting, it is a custom team, but because I didn't pick all the riders, I feel like I'm still picking a team that someone else chose for me. And that makes it more interesting for me because it's different, more original, and hopefully a great adventure ahead of us. Our squad aside, we've got plenty of things to do today, so let's get started. Before we get started, I would like to thank somebody. Yael T, it's a member of our PCM World Discord community, and he made the shirts of our team. He made the genuine YouTube shirt. He's also made National Championship shirt for every nationality in the squad. It's pretty insane. That dude put so much effort into it, so big shout out to him. Thank you very much, Yael. Before we take a look at our season calendar, I would like to take a look at the goals that our sponsor YouTube has set for us because there are some pretty big ones in there, but some that I do think that are very much possible. Let's take a look. Our most important goal is a stage win in the Tour de France. I do believe this is very much possible. I think that that is a doable request, and I honestly thought that the main goal of our squad would have been a bit more difficult. But the second one and the fourth one there are not exactly easy. A top 5 in La Vuelta and a top 5 in the Giro d'Italia, the 2 Grand Tours next to the Tour de France. We've also got a 3.5 star goal at the Tour of Flanders, so Hausler, you're gonna have to do something amazing there, mate. With that top 10, it's gonna be difficult, but I believe we can do it. Tirreno Adriatico with the top 5, Paris-Roubaix with the top 10, so Hausler again. Holy crap, that's gonna be difficult, I think. Liège-Bastogne-Liège with the top 5, Milano-San Remo with top 10, Paris-Nice top 5, Amstel top 5, La Flèche top 10, E3 with a top 5. I think that one's gonna be more difficult than the Tour of Flanders and Paris-Roubaix one because top 5 against pretty much the same competition, just on a different kind of route. Then stage wins in Critérium du Dauphiné, stage wins in the UAE Tour, and finally we've got the stage wins in the Tour de Romandie. So I'm very happy that the main goals are situated in Grand Tours. Our team fits that, and hopefully we can achieve as much as we can of these goals. When it comes to the calendar, we've decided to plan this out very, very carefully to make sure that each of our channels has some of the best races, to make sure that not one person of us just has like the worst races. We planned this out very carefully to make sure we all have similar amounts of national championship races and so forth, just to make sure the content on each channel is very qualitative as well for you. In January, we start off with the Australian Championships, then slowly venture over towards the Santos Tour Down Under. Another bit of Australian racing, leading into Colombian ITT, Colombian Road Race together with Seagull, South African National Championships, a bit of a rest period within February, but that leads towards the UAE Tour, and then pretty much too many World Tour races, Omloop, Strade, Paris-Nice, Tirreno, San Remo, Catalunya, Itri and Wevelgem. We've also got Kuurne-Brussel-Kuurne and Semaine in there as well. In the second quarter of the season, we start off with another bit of Cobble Classics again. Dwars of Vlaanderen together with the Tour of Flanders, Pays Vasco, Brabantse Pijl, Amstel, Flesch and LBL, the Hill Classics. Then Romandie and the Giro. After the Giro, we've got June already, which starts off with the Dauphiné and the Tour de Suisse. We've also got the National Championships, but as you can see, they're scheduled very oddly. Now, we want to make sure that each person that chose a rider at the start of the series can play with that rider in their NCs. We try to schedule it as much as possible that way. Imagine if they were all on the same day. We'd have to pass on the save file of this career mode every single race to make sure that the person who rode with that rider can ride in that race. Now, I try to manipulate the database a bit to make sure that we only have to pass it once per day. So the first day is with all the races that Joe will ride. Then he only has to pass the save file once towards the next day to make sure that Blackwar can ride all the races for his riders. Then the day after that, we've got my races. We do that again for the road race. And this way we only have to share our save file 6 times instead of like 40 times with each race. After the National Championships, the main race of the season starts, the Tour de France. After the Tour de France, we start off with Cologne in August. We also do San Sebastian, Big Bang Tour, leading us into the Vuelta. During the Vuelta, we've got 2 one-day races to take care of. Hamburg, the Vattenfalls Classics of the past. And then Plouay, aka the Britannic Classic now. After the Vuelta itself, we've got Quebec and Montreal. A bit of a rest period towards October. And then we have Emilia, Torino, Lombardia and Paris Tours. That pretty much sums it up for the season. Pretty busy calendar, but we've planned it out perfectly to make sure we've got everything done by the time PCM 20 arrives. So let's hope it works out. We've got a few days left to fill in the calendar, so let's try and do so with a training camp. Let us go towards the most expensive one because our riders deserve that and bankruptcy is most likely imminent anyway, so we might as well spend everything. Now, how will I do this? Because if I do 10 days, then Hausler does not make it back for his Australian National Championships. I'm gonna drop him from the squad. Where is he? I can't find him. There we go. Heinrich Hausler is gone off the list. And this way we're sending everybody except for him towards this training camp. Now, everybody except for Hausler is in the training camp, which means that we also need to send Hausler towards one. And we're going to do so right here in Lucca as well. Let's put him on Hausler on 5 days. Let's confirm that. Really? 8 riders? Couldn't you tell me before I send everybody off to freaking Spain or something? God damn it. Now he's not going anywhere. He's just going to sit home. Well, lesson learned, I guess. On to the next thing. Now, we have to select the rider objectives of our riders, and it's not very simple because I don't ride 67% of these races, which means that I can't just randomly select riders for their squads. That's Timmsoski's and Blackwar squads. The thing is, we did talk to each other and decided that we want to send Rafa Maika to the Giro and the Vuelta, so 2 Grand Tours for him. Patrick Conrad is going to be leading the Tour de France, and TJ van Garderen is going to be in 2 Grand Tours, the Giro and the Tour de France. There was a bit of a doubt between sending TJ towards the Giro or the Vuelta next to the Tour de France, but the choice was the Giro because then he can also contend in the UCI World Championships ITT. Now, next to the GC leaders, we've got two other leaders, Heinrich Hausler. His goal is quite simple, the Cobble Classics. I'm not sure why his goal in August and December is the Tour de l'Avenir because that's a U23 race, and he's definitely not U23. Good job, Pro Cycling Manager. Well done. Now, Sebastian Milano though, he's going to be going towards a Grand Tour, but not the Giro as shown here. We're going to have to change that in a second because he's going to the Tour de France. Anyway, as I just explained, this is pretty much wrong, so let's fix it. First things first, Heinrich Hausler, his goals are simple. Paris-Roubaix first, that's his main goal of the season. After that, the Giro d'Italia, but not as leader. He's going as free element because can't exactly send him as a GC leader nor as a sprinter with 71 sprint. And definitely not for the teammate because he's a god, so that would be too sad for him. Afterwards, he's venturing towards the Bing Bang Tour in the latter part of the season, and that might actually be for GC considering the cobble variant of that race. TJ's season looks quite simple as well. We start off with Paris-Nice, venturing over to Tour de France, potentially doing the Giro in there as well, and then afterwards we venture over to the UCI World Championships ITT for the latter part of the season. Our main leader, Rafa Majka, is going off to two Grand Tours, the Giro and the Vuelta, but in the first part of the season he's going towards the Tirreno Adriatico stage race. Conrad's plan is quite simple as well. We've got Liège-Bastogne-Liège first. I feel like that's his perfect race, to be honest. He's got 75 mountain, 78 hill. He's kind of like Schachmann in that, similarly as his ex-Bora teammate. And then we go off to the Grand Tour that he will be riding this season, the Tour de France. And in the latter part of the season, we've got Il Lombardia to finish it off on a high note. Sebastian Milano also venturing to the Tour de France as the sprinter of our squad. But in the first part of the season, he's going to focus on the UAE Tour, the unofficial stage race sprinting world championships thingy. And then at the end of the season, he's got the Tour de Pologne, another bit of sprinting because there's pretty much no sprinting in the latter part of the season outside of Pologne in my eyes here. So that's why I chose Pologne, to be fairly honest. There we go, that's done. But I am very confused because I swear I just put the Giro on Hausler. Exactly. What went wrong, PCM? And now it's fine. That's so weird. Bit of a bug, I guess, but we can live with it. This is the plan for the season. There we go. There's one thing left to do, and that is create our teammates list here. I'm going to do this off camera because I pretty much got a list of both Blackwar and Joe here, which riders they want to send to which Grand Tour, so guess I'm going to fill this in and I'll see you afterwards. I've actually come upon a bit of an issue in the objective planning, and I would like to explain it. First of all, we've got 3 people in May to July that go to the Tour de France, which means that I can select teammates for them, all 3. But I can only pick 6 riders to drop towards the teammates with a personal objective for the period tab at the bottom, which means that I have riders on the Tour de France goal now that aren't going to the Tour de France just because I can't put them on another goal anymore, which is actually quite sad. And next to that, an actual bug is that I cannot put Stockbro on the Danish National Championships. The Netherlands, the dude is not Dutch, that's for sure. And the Wolf is not Danish, but Roelands is Belgian, so that's something weird. Pidcock is not Belgian. I've got the feeling that Stockbro, this one, is Danish. Might have been for Stockbro. We've got Belgian for the Wolf maybe. So this box here is just in the wrong position, I guess. Or it's not well coded, I guess. And then this one might be for Roelands for his Belgian. And then this one should be Great Britain. Yes, for Pidcock. So I think that's the bug that we found. France for Charles-Planet. So this one is correct again. The last one seems to be correct all the time. Either way, that's a bit of an issue when it comes to the planning, and therefore I cannot really plan my objectives the way I would like to plan them. So if anyone of Cyanide is watching, how about you fix my thingy here? Thank you very much. Anyway, bugs aside, let's take a look at what we've got. These are the teams that will be riding in the first part of the season. Pretty simple. We've got mainly the cobble riders with Hausler. Then we've got TJ with Paris-Nice just taking a few riders as well. This is not really the most important part. The most important part is during May and July, who we picked to the Giro and the Tour de France. Gibbons, Rivera, Decker. We've also got Nibali, Tejada, and Camargo. Those are going to be the domestiques for Hausler and Maika. During the Tour de France, we've got Luis Leon Sanchez, Edvald Boasson-Hagen, Benjamin Thomas, the Bod, and Rosen. That's pretty much it because you've got like 3 leaders there. Milano, Conrad, and Van Garderen. Now, I would have loved to pick like a proper thing for these riders, but... oh, now I can. I just reloaded the page and I can actually select the National Road Champions that I want to select, which is the great thing, of course. I'd like them all to focus on their national championships here. I would have loved to do the same for the other riders that are not going to the Tour but are selected for the Tour, but I just literally can't. There's no option for me to add more riders to this bottom part. Then, the next part of the season is August to October, and there lies the focus on La Vuelta, of course. We've got Luis Leon Sanchez together with Maika, Foss, Zwift, Genietz. We've got Nibali, Roulans, and Pidcock. To the Plone with 3 riders, we've got Lombardi with a few, then UCI World Championships ITT just for the random fans of it, and then the Bing Bang Tour with a bit of cobble riders and this guy, because why not? Next up, we need to take care of the staff. We have to get proper staff for our riders to make sure we've got trainers for every single training style. We've got a doctor that can actually do his job correctly instead of this national dude from Sweden. Levi Leipheimer is our scout. No fucking way. Goodbye. Let's take a look. We're going to be picking a trainer of... first of all, let's take a look what we have. We've got a legendary reputation, groundbreaking one from the Netherlands. Kevin Grove from international reputation, traditional. That means we only need a modern training style left. And I would prefer one with international as well to make sure my riders are trained correctly. This one, Axel Max. We're going to see him from Axion. There we go. So 3 of them are in our squad. We also need a scout that is not a representative of US Postal. And we're going to do so by getting an international one, I think. Thomas Amezaga. I'm pretty sure he works for Movistar actually as a mechanic, but I could be very wrong. This doctor, he got to go, man. He's got to go. And we're going to be picking a doctor that is actually good at his job. Ferrari, maybe? Yeah, we will win if we pick Ferrari, that's for sure. Nonetheless, I don't think this is the Ferrari that we're all thinking of. The Astana one. Either way, let's continue onwards. With our trainers, we now have to select a proper training axis for our riders together with the actual trainer that fits best with their training style. So I'll just go over every rider one by one and do that. I'll show it once so you know what I'm talking about. First of all, we've got a training on TJ Van Garderen. He's meant to be a stage racer, obviously, so stage races is going to be his axis of training. And next to that, he's got a traditional training style, which means that we don't need to put this person on it because that trainer is groundbreaking. We're going to be going for Axel Max. No, that's a modern. So Kevin Grove, who does traditional training. Next up, we're going to go for the next person, Mikkel Bjerg. And he's going to be a time trialist, of course. Talented rider in there, 21 years old. And he doesn't have a training style yet, so we'll have to come back in a few months to actually decide a trainer that fits best for him. For now, I'll put him on Axel Max to make sure that Kevin Grove has enough place to train other riders instead. You always have to make sure that you're not training more than 8 to 9 riders with each trainer to make sure that their training is still efficient. Otherwise, it's just not that great anymore, and your riders won't improve as quickly. Anyway, I'll do this off camera, and I'll see you in a bit. There we go, everybody is done, and we had 2 riders that were actually quite difficult to do, and the first one is Ben Zwift. I've put him on Sprinter because I think he's still the best at that. He's got that climbing, but in the end, I still think that sprinting is his best ability. Outside of that, I'm still doubting whether I should put Edvald Boasson-Hagen on Northern Classics or Sprinter. I think I'm going to go for Sprinter right now with his 74 because generally the man can do everything except for climbing as a GC leader, which means that I could put it on anything and it would be fine, but I think sprinting does fit him the best at the moment. That's pretty much it for our training here. Last but not least, we need to do this part. The preseason, it's a thing that we need to do from the game, so we must do it. I usually do it quite simple. I just sort by first objective and then set my preseason accordingly. UAE Tour is pretty soon, 7 weeks only, so I'm most likely gonna put it on a high form or very high. I think I'm gonna do high because it's still like in February. Gonna do the same for everybody here. And that's perfect. Then Tirreno Adriatico is a bit further away. I'm going to put him on, I don't know, to be honest. I think I'm gonna put it on like medium because I think low is like actually very low. And we might want to use some of these riders in earlier races, even though they've got goals later on. Santos Turanande, that's a very early one, so very high for Ryan Gibbons. Paris-Roubaix, low at the start, but then again I would love to use these riders at the start of the season, so normal for the start. Stockbro as well. Then Stefan de Bod is similar towards Tirreno goals, so I'm going to put it on normal as well. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing with Charles Planet and TJ van Garderen. And last but not least, the Liège goals. 15 to 16 weeks, actually 16 weeks, I just can't read. So, a difficult one because I might want to send them to one of these earlier races as well. So, I think I'm going to put them all on normal here, just like that. There we go, that's the preseason planning. Let's confirm this. Okay, I think we've pretty much done everything on the checklist of the season preparation, so we can start heading over to the first race of the season, the National Championships of Australia. There we go, first race from Ballarat to Ballarat. It is the ITT National Championships of Australia. Thing is, we didn't really get a training camp with Hausler before because of that limited 8 riders only guarantee on those training camps, which means that BCM, I guess, doesn't want to send depressed loners to a training camp, so they have to have friends. So Hausler did not get the training camp he wanted. We've got a ITT of 37 kilometers. He has no ITT stat. 64, so this is going to be a train wreck. Sun is shining 1.5 meters between the people at the side of the road, so cycling can happen. We've got a lot of riders that start off before we do, 76 in total, so I'm pretty sure I'm just going to skip over to Hausler, and afterwards we'll try and also take a look at the main attractions here at the start, so the biggest ITT favorites like a Dennis, a Port, and so forth. Last but not least, I'm looking forward to seeing our shirt in action in a second here. Oh my god, I can already see a part of it. It looks beautiful. I just want to zoom in a second. I really think this shot is absolutely a piece of art. Let's go, and let's zoom into Hausler. Absolutely beautiful. Not gonna lie. I love it. I really do. Thank you very much, Yael. Again. Either way, I should control my rider, otherwise this is not gonna work. I don't think it's gonna work either way, but we're gonna try at least to get a decent time here with Hausler. He's not a great TTer, he's not an absolutely terrible TTer, but he just doesn't care too much in TTs, that's why, yeah, he won't make a great TT here. We've got a few TTers on the road already that had a pretty good time, like Hepburn, Myra and such, but I'm pretty sure that time is gonna get destroyed once Dennis is on the road later on. Hausler, he's off to a good start. Let's take a look what he does at the intermediate. The first part of his ITT is kind of downhill, which made it so I have a bit more yellow than the finishing line of the distance, which means that I can go a bit harder on this uphill section, which I planned for. We've got the first intermediate now. We're gonna get 19th on this, which is not exactly terrible, but it won't exactly give us a top 20 in the end either. So we gotta quick up the pace a bit more. 73 should be fine, maybe 74 as well. So let's try and do that fast and see where that brings us in the end. And the world champion is off. It's a bit weird to see him ride in that world champion jersey in an NC. I don't think that's actually allowed in real life. I could be very much wrong. Ahead of him, Richie Port for Trek. We've got Matthews for Sunweb. We've also got Durbridge for Mitchelton. Nathan Haas, probably not going to do much here. Scottson maybe, but he's not that amazing. Harper for Jumbo here. Yeah, I don't know. I think the main favorites are the last ones there. Hausler, still on the road. Let's see what he can do. Closing on to the final 5k, I've got the feeling that we've got a bit more energy in the tank than I'm using, so let's up it towards 77 and see if that does anything. 77 might have been too much, so let's lower it again towards like 72 and make sure we can finish with this energy. Last kilometer going in pretty soon here, so let's go a good 99 on this section here. There we go. To the finishing line on the right here, and we're gonna finish with a time of 3 minutes 38, which brings us a 16th spot at the moment. Not exactly too terrible. I do think a lot of riders are gonna pass there, so maybe a top 25 if we get lucky. Yeah, Dennis has shown already that he's the best here. 33 seconds ahead of Port at the first intermediate. We've got Hepburn on 41. Nobody left on the road after him, so he's most likely gonna win it in the end. Last kilometer for Dennis. Is he going to dominate magically at the finish line here? 2 seconds only between Port and Hepburn, but Dennis, 1 minute and 9 seconds. That makes him, for Ineos, the Australian NCITT of 2020 here. We've got Port in second, Hepburn in third. I'm curious where we came. Let's scroll down a bit, and we got 30, so not the 25 I hoped for, but on paper we did well. We land with people that are a bit better than us, to be fair. Only like this guy did better with a worse stat. For the rest, I think all these riders have better TT stats, so we can't complain. Not at all. Good TT from Hausler, which means he's somewhat in form for that road race. And that's exactly the race we're going to be starting right now. Here we go, from Buninyong to Buninyong, the regular parkour as every single time. Pretty hilly, but we might be able to pull something off if we get lucky a bit. The factor is going to be us trying to hang on to the group, and if that works out, we might be able to sprint it for the victory in the end. It's a downhill finish, so we might be able to exploit that. Let's hope it works out. We start off a bit at the back of the peloton. Again, beautiful jersey. I'm in love with it, not even lying. If I could marry a shirt, it would be this one. Let's move over to the front, and let's put ourselves on 75 to make sure we don't drop off the back of the group when the pace goes up. I'm going to try and survive throughout the race. There's not much to it at the moment. And if we can hang on for pretty much the whole race, then we might be able to pull something off in a final sprint or with a late attack. Just going to make sure that I can follow anybody that attacks, which is not going to be easy with climbers like Richie Porte and such on this parkour. But we're going to try. But for now, let's keep ourselves in the peloton safely and take a look at what the race does for us. We're not even 4 hills in, and I've noticed the problem already. That's that I don't have enough time to get water, and the peloton is so stretched out that I can't just let myself drop towards the back of the group during a downhill and be able to come back before the next hill. So I think I'll have to wait to get water until the group becomes a bit smaller. But the space is already kind of unbearable with Hausler. Look at it. Cameron Meyer just pacing at the front, trying to catch that breakaway, who's only like 40 seconds ahead anymore. Man's having trouble, that's for sure. Let me up it towards 87, otherwise we're not going to make it in this front group here. Oh, that sucks. We're like 6 climbs from the finish line. Every single time this climb hits, I just get so scared because this pace is insane. And it's still Meyer. That dude has 9 life. It's like Katrin Meyer or something. Anyway, that was like the worst joke I could invent here. Let's try and keep myself up here. Slowly upping it towards 90 necessarily because I need to stay in this group. Let's get to maintain position again. Make sure we don't lose positions as I just click maintain position, not lose position. There we go. Let's try and regenerate a bit of yellow in this downhill as well and then make sure we're at the front again for the next climb. Yeah, I don't think we've regenerated enough. This one will not be going well. Gonna be pacing 70 here. Let's hope we survive the climb, but it's not looking like we will, to be honest. 85. And we're dropping at 85. I just can't follow the pace. 88 maybe, 89. 30 seconds already. Let's up it towards 92, 93. This is just too difficult for us. Hausler doesn't have it today. Maybe a bit of luck if we can get to the back of the wheel here again. Through the dropping riders. That would be awesome. Come on, come on, come on. Let's 99 it towards the top here. We got blocked by Lions here. Oh, no, no, no. Come on. Really, man? We need to get back. Last climb is ahead of us. That's the end. The end for the Australian dream here. But I guess we're going to follow up with the front of the race here. We've got plenty of action happening here. An attack by Matthew, Sport, and Jack Haig. Simon Clark as well. They're most likely going to be fighting for the victory here. This parkour is just too difficult for Hausler here. At his age, the experience wasn't enough. 4 kilometers downhill and then the sprint starts. On paper, Clark has the best, no, never mind, Matthews of course, has the best sprint, but to be fair, it's not much flat after this downhill, so might just be the first person that starts sprinting here. Oh, Matthews does it, so Matthews is Australian champion, I think. Pretty sure that's my guess. Haig behind, and he just rides away. That's what he does. Maybe? I don't think they can catch him. Michael Matthews, Australian champion of 2020, ahead of Simon Clark. Jack Haig maybe third, I think. Yes, indeed. But we, with 4 minutes down and dying, didn't even get to use our energy gel, which makes it even worse. Michael Matthews does it ahead of Clark, Haig, Port, Haas, McCarthy and Sam Crome. Wow, that's a surprising name. In the end, did we also get a top 30 hit? 20 seconds, so it's not the worst, but I would have loved a bit more. I was dreaming of winning here, not gonna lie, but just wasn't meant for us. Michael Matthews takes it. A bit of a disappointing start to the season. I would have expected a bit more on that Australian road race, but just wasn't meant for us with all those Michelin riders pacing their hearts out. Eventually, that's the end of this episode, and we actually did quite a lot today. We did the season preparations and ventured in our first 2 races. Saw the shirt for the first time, loved it, and on the next episode we'll start the proper races, and that's not going to happen on this channel, as is the concept of the series. To see that next episode, the second episode, you'll have to venture over to Timmsoski's channel. You can find the link in the description if you're not subscribed to him yet, or in the first comment below this video. He's going to be riding the Santos Tour Down Under. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Hope you are as well. And I guess I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.